Good morning, everybody. People are making me laugh here. Say no time. They will say it. The grace of Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship be with us now forevermore. Amen. All right, everybody. Good morning once again. My name is Paul-Esupofo. I'm the lead instructor of Special Drama Film School Online, the first of its kind on Facebook Live for over a year. And I want to thank God for your life, for being part of us. As usual, please go ahead and share. Make a comment. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us the city, the country, and the places you're watching from. It's another day. It's another Monday. Yesterday, I was so tiring. If you watch the video, you will look at me. I was talking and I was so tiring. But I was like, wow. Even right now, I've not rested enough. But one thing about grace of God is that once He has given the passion, you will always do it. I was this morning too. It's not going to be long because I found out something. Though I have 1 hour or more, and I have less than, it all depends, between 9:30 and 10:30 or more, I can do that. And I can also, excuse me, I can also, it's cold here, all right? I can also reduce or make it a longer thing. Thank you very much for all the thank you and all that. Sorry, thank you very much. Let's go back to Adelugba, on the theatrical practice in Nigeria. Theatrical practice in Nigeria. This man is so versed, so blessed, so great person in dealing with a lot of issues. So this morning we're going to be doing it and taking it easy. Like I used to say, you do it step by step, gradually, and you just make sure that you have a whole lot of things for yourself and great things. Thank you very much, Sister Queen. Sister Queen, God bless you. How are you? Thank you very much. I could see the smile from a beautiful queen, Queen Nina, just smiling and listen to Daddy. And my wife, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Brother Pius, thank you very much. Let's go to where we stopped yesterday. We talked about otherwise to be dynamic. So that is right. So this morning we're going to be going on to something very, very important because yesterday we talked about Koli Motor Show and all that. We talked about Yemi Ogunbiyi and all those people. Please, if you have not shared the video, go ahead and share the video. Go ahead and share this video. At times, the divergent views could be creative in a way and could advance the frontiers of theories and criticism provided people are decent in expressing them. In the end, the students are better off because they are exposed to more than one views. Fortunately, the University of Ibadan has produced so many giants in the theater world. Could you just give us the privilege of knowing a few of the notable ones, their names and where they are presently? Maybe. All right. So, yesterday I was saying I was so tired, but I was so tired. All right. I was so tired. Let me correct that. I was so tired. So let's say this. Fortunately, let us know the name. Maybe. Now the response of Dapo Adelugba says, before we get to our own product, let us take our own juniors. People like Sonny O.T., who more or less was my successor in the old University College by the Dramatic Society, and Sonny O.T. was the lead actor in Danda, which was written by another great hero, the late Nkem Nwankwo, who wrote the novel Danda, from which the stage play was adapted, and Godfrey Hartsworthy, Ernest Ekom. Sonny O.T. adapted Danda into the Nigerian stage version, which was taken to Dakar. It was taken to Dakar in Senegal. Okay. After performance in Nigeria, in various parts of the country in 1965 annual tour, I think it was in 1966 that Danda became part of the heritage that Nigeria was able to present at the World Negro Festival in Dakar, Senegal. Let us now talk of some of our products. You think of people like Bateloi Warite, a Sierra Leone national whom I had occasion to refer to earlier on. Bateloi Warite became the head of communications section of UNICEF, and he was, in fact, director of publications, I think, of ACCE, with its headquarters in Nairobi, Kenya, for many years. Then, of course, we had Chuk Mike. He was also one of our products, and Chuk Mike is one of the prominent leaders of the popular theater movement in Nigeria today. Although an Afro-American, he has adopted Nigerian culture. He was a Nigerian. He has a Nigerian wife and a Nigerian-based family, and is doing well in the area of community theater, and his work at respect both in Nigeria and Europe and America. Question: There was this Mike's drama adaptation of Achebe's Things Fall Apart. I think it was like Cotton, the director. He was the director. Question continues. He was the director, but from what I saw briefly, I think there was something particularly uncomfortable and disturbing regarding directorial judgment, where female characters were made to act the masquerades or something like that. And I think that's an assault on the Igbo culture, more or less. No indigenous Igbo will tolerate that kind of sacrilege. Response now. I have had this comment before. I take a dynamic of culture and think that we can accommodate a post-colonial slant and conclude that the neo-cultural representation in Things Fall Apart is valid. Things Fall Apart has been on the scene since 1958. How many years now? 1958, that should be 60 years. Yeah, that should be 60 years. Anybody that's born 90, that's 50 years. 50? 50 years?
This year, 50 years.
50 years, 60 years. It's 60 years. Alright? We will not need to apologize for Things Fall Apart. We can move from that old view of the masquerade into a new view. 50 years. 50 years. That's not 58. That's I said 58. That's 60 years. All right, 60. I was wondering when the calculation of 1958 to 2018 became something else. All right, but it's okay because when you remove the 11 minus 5, making 6. All right. We will not need to apologize for Things Fall Apart. We can move from that old view of masquerade into a new view. What is the masquerade? The masquerade has a certain fearful impact, and the post-colonial adapter will say that that was denied women for so long need not to continue to be denied them forever and ever. And women may in fact be greater masquerade, more fearsome than men. Cotton. That may be easier said than done. I wonder if the owners of that culture will ever tolerate that. The man responded, we own technological culture. That is technological culture. Cotton, we own it. We are talking of homegrown. The question is that we're talking about homegrown, and Professor Adelugba said, well, but Chuck's Mike was not talking of anything homegrown. He was talking of a story which has become very well known, a work which has gone through several stages of adaptation. There is the Bassi Effiong adaptation, which is valid, and several others. Things Fall Apart has been made into a film by Seppenny Films. Seppenny, CALPENNY Films. Bullfrog Under the Sun. It was called Bullfrog Under the Sun. It is a combination of Things Fall Apart and No Longer at Ease. So I think as of 2000 or 1999, when they did it, Things Fall Apart has established the authenticity. Chuck Mike did not need to bend over backward to accommodate old views of traditional culture. In any case, people will say sufficiently strong that adaptation was not good. Why didn't you come out with newer adaptations? I love that. Let's go to another question. What came to my mind was that as a director, there are times when one should conduct a preliminary investigation and be very close to a given culture, particularly where it concerns sensitive people who may not compromise the chastity of their cultural or traditional standards. It is better not to incite them by doing anything contrary to their culture. For instance, in the turban culture, there are different types of turbans. Some may be just round the cap, some drawn down the jaw, some covering the whole cap and finishing at the top. Some may have a pair of butterfly wings, so to say, at the finishing. Each of these turbans represent a different destination, different offices, different responsibilities, and all that. If you get your actor on stage turbaned anyhow, you think that a turban is a turban, you may be cutting trouble, drama or no drama. Cutting by Professor Adelugba. Yes, I agree with you. There is no disagreement. Okay, similarly, it continues, the question continues, do you think just anybody, any female character can be in the costume of a masquerade without stepping on some cultural toes? Okay. The response, just let's go. But when you look at Femi Osofison's Tegoni, Dodore, Tegoni, that scene with Oro, tell me, and then the final unmasking in which it was discovered that they are not men at all, that they are in fact women. You know, in spite of the post-colonial slant in which we take a new look at old culture, if the old culture is there, but we can take a new look, that could be refreshing. As you said, you know, very little turn or twist of the turban may have its significance, but significance need not be a timeless significance which cannot change. Newer experiences inevitably will come, and the turban may begin to represent some new things, but which will not necessarily invalidate old meanings. But side by side with old meaning, new interpretation can stand, and the rest of the world is doing that all the time to old culture. Another question. I believe you are joining this. If you are joining, you are welcome. Please feel free to really communicate. Feel free to type something. Emiko Edu, happy birthday to you and all other people who are celebrating the birthday today. Happy birthday to you. Another question. If you must agree with that perspective, then deconstructive interpretation is synonymous with subversion or subversive undercurrent directed as pulling down the old cultural indices or structure where they do not prove relevant anymore and in their place. The erection of the new and relevant structures like Chuck's Mike's Masquerade and Femi Osofison's Oro, except that one may be causing some locational trouble if not handled with care. Okay, and Professor Adelugba responded, and that erection in itself can be problematic because it is not going to be easy to accept. Just as exactly the things fall apart, your rebellion is well-meaning. That is, your rebellion may be described as slightly old-fashioned, but you are entitled to your own opinion, and I myself share that kind of protective approach to culture, unless we protect our culture. Question. So that culture does not suffer a miscegenation. Miscegenation spells miscegenation. Okay, and we lose our identity. Of course, I quite agree with you that where the so-called original culture no longer serve any useful purpose, particularly where it is only services or celebrates the status quo to the detriment of the masses. Of course, the masses could evolve their own. Now, Professor responded, in theater practice, one area in which I still feel that we have not done enough work is in looking at African and Oriental heritage of performing arts. These have not been carefully looked at, and I believe that if we look closely at the Oriental heritage, that some of our so-called new emerging works could benefit from the understanding of Oriental symbology and some understanding of Oriental performing arts culture, both in the popular and in the aristocratic dimension. And in fact, in America, they now talk of the neo, N-O-H-O, okay, neo, which is a modified version of the Oriental no. N-O with two dots. Okay, we should start to explore Oriental culture. Cotton, another question. But that could also come in a way into the curricula, and there is already sufficient room to accommodate that in theater studies. Professor Adelugba. We do have it. In fact, Oriental theater has been there from the very beginning. Dr. Feldema spelled F-I-D-E-L-M-A, Okesa, O-K-W-E-S-A, used to teach it in the earlier years. Dr. Remy Adedokun now teaches it. That was then. He's already retired there. It's no longer there. But it has to be more research oriented. Cotton, another question. I think I have come across some exciting literature, and I have been striking similarities, even more correspondences with our own indigenous African performances, so that it's likely to help a lot. And in fact, some of the things we think we are creating might be in existence already in this other culture. And the man said, yes, indeed, quite right. Another question. I have 3 more questions before I go this morning. All right, I have 3 more questions before I go this morning. After this one, I'm going to have 2 more. I'm going to have 2 more and I stop. Okay, let's go. How many of you have been enjoying this class? Really, because I know it's quite interesting. For me, it's quite interesting. It's finishing very soon, and I was like, well, I'm expecting at least it to reach March. But if it doesn't reach much, like I said, I want to really give time for the theater people, and I want to really go and do a live broadcast with some of them, or go and recall them, and bring to some of the footages at home, that I'll be able to do something about it. Welcome. As you're joining, please tell us your name, the country, and the state you're watching from. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, my name is Paul-Esupofo Oriade. You can simply call me Paul. All right. So it's a very good thing. So let's go to the 3 more questions, like I said. So number 1 of it, I think it is necessary to look at culture in this millennium, the challenges and that aspect with the real proof, something a little more expansive to accommodate many other such cultures. I'm not aware if the Aborigines in Australia are existing indigenous theatre anymore, either through their religious right, secular, or the ritualized theatre. You remember when I started? DE, okay, the ritualized theatre. If I must borrow Ogundeji's word, okay. Now say, in fact, the man responded, say, in fact, we have hosted 2 black Aborigines from Australia. We hosted them here in a production of the art theatre in the early 70s when Dr. Malomo was new at the department's as the department's business manager. They came with their traditional flutes and things. The only difference, of course, is that the outfit had got slightly modernized, because there were some Americans who joined the troupe on the international tour, who played Western instruments side by side with the Aborigines. Dediredo, D-E-D-E-R-E-D-O-O, all right? But the tradition is likely original. We took this Australian out one Saturday evening after their performance. One of them, a pastor, almost forgot he had a preaching assignment the next morning. We took them to a nightclub and they had a lot to drink. They really enjoyed their visit to Nigeria, and we all had great fun together. Another question. And that is one of the things, despite the fact that one believes in the dynamism of culture, one must also take precautions to that certain things do not get obliterated. You are taking of a flute, you are talking of a flute which has now been redesigned, modernized in a way, thereby losing its originality and perhaps its identity. Question. That in fact have the flute. They in fact have the flute, but I'm saying that as part of their tour, they had a mixed troupe including a few Americans who introduced Western instrument into the originally traditional Aboriginal didgeridoo performance. Okay, the last question. Okay, not the last question. Okay, second to the last question, because just a little cut in there. What am I saying in essence? That along the line there might be preference for those modern things. Cutting, yes, I agree. That's Professor agreed, Dapo. And before DASYLVA continued and said, before you know it, the original indigenous flute could lose its place. Cutting, Dapo. The traditional flute could disappear. The traditional flute could disappear. Okay. Finally, this morning, and that will take us another thing tomorrow. This morning, because this morning we said, wow, this is like it's very short and all that. So I told you it's going to be short. All right, then I'm going to take my time, attending time, and all that. So then, because of we are going towards the end gradually. We still have a long way, but we are going to more interesting. It's been interesting, but we'll go to more interesting. Maybe in the next 1 month we should finish the practice. Maybe next 1 month, maybe in the next 1 week, or maybe the end of this month, maybe. But I know that we're going to get a tangible place. Today is 15. Don't forget, today is 15. Today is half of the month, and we have started this year, and it's part 39. Okay, that's a very big one. Now, this is the last question this morning. Sonny Ade was in Japan or some Oriental country, and of course, this African talking drum had been modernized in a way, using plastic and fibers. Of course, it wouldn't perform like the original talking drum. So when it was to perform, he was presented with that new Gaga talking drum. He looked at it, drummed it, and said, "Sorry, this is fake. This is fake," in quotes now. So he asked one of these boys to bring him the original talking drum, with which he trowed his audience. The difference was very clear. But you see, if he wasn't culturally conscious, he might just have played into that hand and have accepted the fake talking drum. Before you know it, that could popularize the Japanese talking drum, so to say, thereby displacing the original. So there are certain things you must not compromise with. I keep on saying this, and people like, wow, you must not compromise with this. You must not compromise. Perhaps the male-informed masquerade or Oro are just a few of such things, perhaps not. And the man responded, and I will continue tomorrow from that one. Still continue. I will agree with you. We must be culturally conscious. We must also be confident. There is a kind of confidence we must instill in young ones. That kind of confidence. Let's face it, my own generation growing up did not face this competition to the degree that those growing up now do, and we do. And we have to make them feel confident in that, in what is indigenous. ... What is Nigerian or African? For them to be able to take American products and Japanese products and assert, all right, in quotes now. Well, these are good, but they are not us. I prefer this. It is African. I say it again. Well, these are good, but they are not us. I prefer this. It is African. It is African, because that's one of the things that have been a whole lot of things for people, a whole lot of sensitivity for people to see by themselves and for themselves what has really been of a great deal, what has really been of a great impact, what has really been that of people. If you look at all this history, you'll be amazed with the practices of people. Again, if you look at it, what I've told you, they are arguing that has to be female. They are even be gender bias in a way, if I want to put it that way. They are gender bias. Oh, it's the only man that will be doing masquerade. Who told you the man inside? Who told you? It's because you are behind this. To know this is a female playing the role of a masquerade, because masquerade, you don't know the physique, you don't know anything. If they put on a lot of things, you don't know. You understand? But unfortunately, this caused a problem at a particular time. And Nigerian, they rather remember that, okay, even when you're talking about dressing, you know, they don't want you to be dressed. In fact, I told myself, the Western, I don't know why you want to do that. If all of us begin to wear our native bag, just like Awolowo, Zik were doing at that time, you know, how do we feel? Do you have a jeans? Do you have some things comfortable? Do we have some things here? It will not be so easy for a lot of people. But you know, if you can also agree, you will be surprised. It will surprise you. It will really surprise you. All right, it will really serve you. Okay, let me take, please, by permission, let me just take down. Okay. All right. So tomorrow, by the grace of God, we'll be able to cover a lot. God helping me, and I know till like Thursday, I'll also be able to cover a lot of things, because I really want to get to page 35 before the end of this week or more. Okay, so 235 rather, 235 before. Remember, I told you it's a very nice book. It's a very wonderful book. Look at the book again. You can look for it in the market. Dapo Adelugba on theater practice in Nigeria. The first time I saw it, it doesn't make sense to me, theater practice and all that. But later I was like, because when the professor put me, I said, okay. By the time you look at it again, there's an interview, okay, we can do something. But thank God it's here. And thank God it's something good. Thank God it's something great. Thank you very much for joining. Monday through Friday is what? Monday through Friday is 9:30 a.m. Nigeria time. Saturday and Sunday is 9:30 p.m. respectively. Saturday is interactive session where we ask questions and all that. Till another time that come your way. My name remains Paul-Esupofo.